Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, Tom and I are going to be talking about how to generate leads for a dental practice. Now, it doesn't matter where this dental practice is, doesn't matter how many locations they are. We're going to discuss from start to finish how to bring in leads when you're running a social media marketing ad campaign for dentists. This is going to be a series we're doing. So we're going to be doing these videos on probably 10 to 15 different industries and how the strategy changes and what you need to do. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. There'll be a new playlist on the channel. Where you'll be able to find the strategy for different clients. But Tom, yeah, like we've worked with dental practices for the past 6, 7 years and been really, really successful with it. So where would you start? Like if someone's searched like, right, I'm either working with a dental practice, I work for a dental practice, or I am a dental practice, how can I start generating good quality leads on social media?
Yeah, well, first of all, like you can't generate leads for every service that dentists do. So when you win a dental client, you need to have a conversation with them to say, okay, what services do you want leads on? Because they do a lot, don't they, mate? Like they
Yep.
have, well, let's just list them. So like they have composite bonding, okay, which is one service. And if you don't know what composite bonding is, you should do at this point.
Yeah.
But
Let's pretend like they're up to date with it.
yeah, so composite bonding is one service. Invisalign, which everyone's very familiar with, keep your teeth straight, that's another service. Veneers is another service, which is very, very popular. And implants is probably the one that gets the dentist's attention the most. And the reason for that is obviously it's expensive, mate, isn't it?
Yep. Absolutely. And then obviously under implants, you have full mouth restoration where you're doing like six implants full mouth, which is like 25, 50 grand, depending on where you're getting it done. And I think most
I was
the
gonna say, mate, like if we were to like land a dentist tomorrow, like
Yep.
today, like one of the first things me and you would do, or our team would establish, is those services. Like you can't promote all of them because what happens? Well, hang on, actually, you can promote all of them, Harry,
Yep.
depending on what.
Depending on budget.
Yeah.
And that's the first, and this is probably a good place to start is when you're running an ad campaign, and this is the same with any client, is you need to figure out based on the average cost, the average value of an implant, Invisalign package, composite bonding, how much you're willing to pay to acquire a customer. So for our dental practice clients, we know that we cannot spend any more than say £15 for a lead because based on the conversion rates of that lead, it's going to cost us £250 to get someone in a consultation. And then depending on how many of those consultations actually go on to pay, like we drag that through. So what you need to work out with the client is right, what are you willing to pay to acquire a customer to make it profitable? That's like step one. And that'll be different for implants. Invisalign because they're all different costs. But like you said, mate, most dental practices listening to this, or if you're an agency watching this to get one of those dental practice results, they'll all want implants because that's their higher ticket. Usually the practice owner is the implant dentist because it's the most you need to be the most qualified to do implants because you're basically a surgeon, whereas anyone can really do Invisalign because it's all done through tech. So they're going to want to fill those people up for him because that's like his speciality. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
that would be stage one.
I would say stage one is just establish what your budget is, what your cost per client acquisition is. So how much is your client willing to pay for an implant lead? That's always worth establishing. And then what you're going to promote. You can't promote all of them. If you've got a big budget, great. But I would imagine at first you're not going to have that big budget, right? Are you? You know
No.
that you just so now don't be shocked if your dentist wants to promote two services. That's really common and that's fine as long as it's, as long as the budget, and then when we should talk about budgets really, mate, because
Yeah.
if you are working with a dentist, let's say it's central London, or it could be the heart of Boston, Massachusetts, or even in LA, wherever it might be that we've got clients, you've got to figure out like how much ad spend do they have? Like how much are they willing to spend? And then figure out if they do want to run two services, you are almost splitting it in half, really. You can't advertise say you got $1,000 really will stretch on one service.
Yeah.
So again, that's something to consider is like what's the ad spend and what services, and that's kind of it. So that's
Yeah.
that's the first bit.
And then also you need to figure out what platform you're going to advertise on. So to go into the actual, should we dive into like actual service delivery, what you need to do to get results?
Yep, let's do it.
So Tom and I work with loads of dentists across the UK and the US. We have done for the past 6 years, and our and we generate from a really small spend. So for an average spend of say $2,000 a month, we generate upwards of 30 to 35,000 pound of treatment plans accepted for our dental practices. And that's because of the how well our and how honed in our strategy is. And it's done through the roadmap we do for all service-based businesses, which is paid media. So you need to be running ads on Facebook, Instagram, or Google, depending on your budget. So, like Tom said, the budget is so dependent on location and what platform. If you're advertising, if you want to advertise on Google, then you're going to need a bigger budget. But if the client comes to you and says, "Right, Tom, Harry, I want to advertise free services on Google and Facebook," it's never going to be enough. You need 50 to advertise on Google, like, and that's not, I'm not even talking in major cities like New York and London. You're going to need at least £1,500 a month just to advertise on Google.
Yeah, I was going to say 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Meta's a little bit lower, but again, that's per service. So
Yeah.
budget's really dependent. So you need your paid media. Content's going to be really important because you can't get away with your static Canva design posts especially in the dental industry. You need really nice video ads of the dentist, the receptionist, people that have had treatment, is really important to get them to a landing page. And I think I would say, mate, in the dental industry, a landing page is so much more essential than other industries to
Yeah.
have a clear landing page per service, to capture that information.
Yeah, yeah, Harry's right. You cannot run. So you run ads. Yeah, Google, Meta are probably the go-tos. TikTok isn't as effective for dentistry because you don't tend to get an individual who wants to pay 4 grand for an implant. You just don't get those type of people. Not across the broad, across
The board.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. Fucking hell, man. But you know what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah,
like, yeah, I think you've got to run ads on the platform. Video ads are really effective. So people are saying, well, I don't know how to do video ads, and that means I've got to get a video producer in. No, that's not right. If you're running ads for a dentist, you can give them a script to actually use and follow, and they can film it on their iPhone or their Android.
mate,
Like,
we've literally had like one of the cosmetic bonding specialists at our dental practices walk through the clinic in the clinic, walk through the
yeah,
clinic in the clinic, walk through the clinic in front of like the chair, literally being like, well, reading the script that we give them, and it
yeah.
works. We're getting like a cost per lead on my cosmetic bonding now for like £4.50, I believe, which is fucking insane. And they're
And let
really
me
good
give
and they're
you guidance.
quality.
Mate, on this video, let me just quickly give people guidance about what that script looks like. So if you provide, what you will need to do is provide a video script to your client, and actually just needs to go like this, like, are you suffering with blah, blah, blah? Okay, so like crooked teeth or stained yellow teeth or gaps in your teeth. Let's say that. Are you suffering with this? Would you like this? This is who we are and what we do, and hit the button below to book your consultation. It's very, very simple. They film it all in individual segments. You piece it together on your fucking phone or on quick movies, whatever you want on your laptop. And then you've got something, then you put some subtitles over it, some captions, which is again, use CADCut or Captions as an app, and you've got yourself an ad. Do 3 different variations of it, run it to a funnel, like Harry just said, to a landing page, not to a fucking poxy little meta lead form, because the brand won't stand out and you won't get the results. This video is all about how do we get leads for our client, and it doesn't matter whether you get 500. You want good quality. We'd rather have 10 that were
Yeah.
fucking good.
And that'll be a really common thing that people will be saying, mate. People will be
Yeah,
watching it. People will be searching this video because people don't have a problem with any industry bringing in leads. Anyone can bring in a lead for a fucking client. It's the most easy thing ever. But people struggle to bring in a quality lead that's going to spend 5, 10 grand with a client. And you and I, mate, and our agency is so fucking good at doing it because we do things to a higher standard. The ads we produce aren't Canva designed fucking posts that with text all over it. They're nice video ads that get the personality of the brand across, produced and scripted in the correct way. we send them to a landing page which is designed fucking impeccably to make it look like a high-end brand that you'd find on fucking New Bond Street in London. Like not something you'd find in the local fucking mall in Bradford. Like it's so different. Like the way you and this is where people get things so wrong is if you're working with an agency or you are an agency where you're not switched on in terms of brand and what luxury brands look like, and you're designing a landing page and ClickFunnels with bright blue text with bright pink buttons with like Comic Sans as a font, that's not going to attract someone who wants to spend 10, 15 grand because there's loads of businesses out there that you're directly competing with that do have their shit together with brand. So this is
Yeah.
where dental practices, one, need to be careful here they're choosing. And if you're an agency working in that business and you're not switched on with brand, it's just a disaster. You're all because what people think is, oh, my ads are bringing in a low quality lead, ads don't work. It's not. It's the ads you're showing them. It's the perception you're giving off. It's the landing pages, the types of emails, the customer service you're giving them. If you're a luxury high-end person, you are not attracted to that type of content. You're just not. You're attracted to the really high-end, pristine ads with really nice, nice fonts, nice brand colors. You can just tell a luxury brand off the mark. And if you're coming in with a really shoddy ClickFunnels funnel on fucking implants, there's no way you're going to attract that luxury client. It's just a disaster. So I
Yeah.
think that above everything, mate, is the biggest piece of advice is don't blame the strategy, blame your ability or implementing the strategy that you've got.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
agree.
that goes for any fucking brand you're working with.
It does. And like, so just really to summarize, you want to run ads on either Google or Meta. Google, you need a really high budget. So be wary of that. You can't just run 200, £300 on it. It doesn't work that way. So you need a much bigger budget on Google, but you don't need that initially. Meta, much less of a budget, but obviously focus on one or two services, no more than that. As Harry has said, take them to a really, make sure the ads are video based. Now, they don't all have to be video based. They can be static posts, particularly for the retargeting, which you will have to introduce. You can have static posts, but there are still a place for static posts. What Harry is saying is don't make them fucking look Canva designed. They will merge. That means you will merge with everybody else. It will all look cack. It will all look shitty as each other. So be very, very careful that if you're going to run a static ad for a dentist, make sure it's a real dentist that works there, that is willing to have their smile on camera with a patient. Sometimes some of our best performing ads for dentists are where the dentist has had a selfie with the patient. Really simple, but that honestly brings through really great results. So video and static, but just be careful you're not doing any of the Canva stuff. Take them to a really high converting landing page. And then what is the final bit that if you're really wanting to convert these leads, Harry, what's the final piece of this puzzle that people are missing?
So this will be what happens to the leads when they come in. Like if
Yeah.
you're just sending your dentist like here's an email, here's a lead, you need to be using Go High Level. You need to be using a CRM, AI automation to nurture these leads. Like that lead needs to be having a conversation immediately, automatically to give that client time to get round to convert it using the Go High Level automations. You need to be sending branded emails to them over the next I'd even say 6 months if you're bringing in an implant lead, mate.
I was
Because
going to say minimum 12 weeks.
yeah,
Minimum.
it's a long time that you need to be sending emails on the particular service they've inquired about, and then you need the back end of the CRM and where that lead goes. Like it's all well and good nurturing it, but if that business has got 3 different clinics, what clinician is managing that lead? Then when they come in for a consultation, is that clinic, comfortable with managing the CRM to say, right, they've came in for a consultation, then they've been, sent their treatment plan. Who's managing that pipeline? Like when we spoke about dental practices that we work with producing 35,000 pound a month in treatment plans created from our services from a relatively small spend, they're because that's obviously because of the strategy and how I've implemented it, but also because they use the CRM and Go High Level to its 100% capability, which we've trained them on. Like,
Yeah.
which I think lots of people don't do, mate. They give people Go High Level, they resell it, but they themselves don't know how to use it to the best of their ability, so they can't train their clients. Like, we've done probably 10, 15 hours plus of training on how to properly use the Go High Level platform with our clients. And that has a direct correlation to how much money they make.
Yeah, it is. And it's so powerful. And we teach this in our academy, exactly how to do this and what to expect. And I think it's just done so wrong, and people think it's so easy. And it actually is kind of once you know once your clients know what to expect, and you've taught them in the right way, managing those leads that come in and ensuring that they convert into actual paying people who have a really good treatment and then come away as a happy client. It's once you get the knack, it's quite simple to roll out.
Yeah.
um Here's a question for you, mate. Does a dentist need good socials for us to work with them?
No.
Why not?
Wait. I'm going to take the answer back. What do you class as good socials?
It's like good content on Instagram or a whole bunch of followers. How important is that? Because there'd be some people now going, oh, but this dentist I'm working with, he's only got 20 followers and he doesn't post on Instagram and stuff. Does that make a difference in your view?
My answer's it really depends, I would say. It depends on how bad and how good.
Does
You
it
don't,
affect us in the
pardon.
sense, do you think it affects the quality of the lead or the conversion of the lead?
Again, mate, it depends. What would you say? How would you answer that?
I would say the amount of followers doesn't matter at
Yeah.
all, but the content that they post does.
Yeah. My answer there, I think there's the extremes, obviously. Like if you do have there's dental practices where I got my teeth done that have 250,000 followers with insane content. That definitely had an impact in me choosing them. So I don't want to say that it doesn't have an impact, but in
Yeah.
terms of like what you said, if they've got 800 followers, but they've got really good content, if you're advertising in that local area, lots of people want to go to someone local, so that wouldn't affect. But I agree, mate. And the way I say this about every industry to people is when you're running ads, organic social doesn't necessarily have to have that big of an impact in terms of generating leads because you're doing the paid stuff. What it does do is it acts as a portfolio of your work. For example, I got Invisalign and composite bonding done and teeth whitening done. And when I was looking for someone to do my composite bonding, I went on loads of dentist Instagrams and I was trying to find someone who had fixed a problem in someone who had a similar problem to me in terms of like one of my friends he had a gap in the middle of his tooth. Well, I didn't have that, but he was trying to find a dentist who used composite bonding to fill the gap. And I had the same conversation with him. He was looking on different socials to find that problem that had been solved. So when you go on these dentists, it should all be before and afters. Every
Yeah.
single post on a dentist profile should be before and afters and case studies. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be any Canva post, pictures of fucking bollocks and God knows what, because that's not work. So I think I agree, mate. If you've got low followers but good content, you can absolutely fly.
And I
But
think this is an area where, mate, I think this is an area where when you are working with a dental client, it's always worth giving that consultancy as well to say, listen, if you can every 3 days post a before and after, that will really help the campaign. And then it shows that you're thinking about their socials and their organic. What
yeah,
you can't do, whoever's watching this and you are working with a dentist or about to, do not run before and afters as your ad. It will get banned. It's not allowed. It's against policy. So just be really, really careful that you can't run any of, look at these teeth, now look at this. In a video, you can say, do you want to go from this? And a video can pop up, a picture can pop up, and then say, or this, and another video picture can pop up. That's totally fine. But
yeah,
just be careful. But yeah, I don't think social proof is really important, but it's the content, it's the catalog, it's the point of reference that people are looking for.
yeah.
Um, over the followers. And I think people have also come to speed with the fact that you can have 150,000 followers, but only 5 people like your post, and that means you've probably purchased those followers.
Yeah.
So I think everyone takes it a little bit with a pinch of salt.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good roundup, mate. I think that's a really good roundup.
And also, but I think the other thing that's worth mentioning, mate, is the conversion of dentists, particularly, is much longer. So we're just signing this video off with the fact that when you get an implant client come through, a lead come through, and they have the consultation and they have the treatment plan proposed to them by the principal dentist, right? It could be 3 months before that person has it done.
It could even be a year.
It
We're like,
can be
oh,
yeah, and actually what sometimes happens, mate, is particularly the revenue, the treatment will actually happen, proportions of the treatment will happen, and they don't charge the revenue straight away. It can actually
yeah.
be bundled at the end. The final bill is paid,
Well,
a
they do
week
it. Yeah, they
teaching?
do. Yeah, they because basically, guys, the way well, if you're a dentist watching this, you'll know with implants, you have to have your like dental hygiene in such good order. You have to have a you would have had to have a checkup in the last 6 months. So lots of times, lots of people that have a missing tooth for implants, which is essentially drilled into your jaw, they often have things like gum disease, which needs to be treated prior to actually getting the implant. So they have to have all of that treatment done first before they can go ahead with an implant. And then, like what you said, mate, like they'll pay it in chunks. So when they have their temporary implant put in, they'll pay a chunk. When they get the crown fitted, they'll pay a chunk. Because lots of people will have an implant done and then leave their temporary in for way too long because they don't have the payment to do it. So it's like it happens over a long period of time, which whereas like and this is something that we're going to talk about in other episodes of this series when we go on to things like financial advisors and mortgage companies, is this is where you have to be clever with cash flow. Like sometimes it's important that you speak to that client and be like, right, if we're advertising implants, that's all well and good. But if it's going to take you 6 months to a year to get that marketing spend back, and you don't have a year of marketing spend in your budget to just waste and then get back, you're going to have to filter in advertising services where they get the cash straight away. So
Yeah.
advertise implants for a bit or advertise implants with a bit of Invisalign because people act quicker for that. So then you work out that cash flow with the client because if you just do implants for a year, bring in a load of leads, which we've done and we've made this mistake previously, and then they're like, shit, Tom Harry, you're doing an amazing job. None of them paid. I'm gonna have to stop marketing for a bit because we'll run out of cash.
Yeah, agreed. It's just something to be really, really aware of, particularly with this industry. um, yeah, I think from start to finish, that they're the things that I look for. Do your research to, go on Facebook Ads Library, but however, by going on when you go on Facebook Ads Library, you are then witnessing some really, really bad practices. So don't get caught. There's one influencer in our space who is quite keen on you just doing some research on Facebook Ads Library, and it's a good thing to recommend people do and experience, but don't think that those ads are bringing in the best result because
Mate, did you know in Facebook ad library now you can see how much an advertiser's spending?
no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a new feature.
I've
You
not
can
been in it. I've not been in it for a while.
no, I use it a little bit, but I just go into different parts of it. But you can now look at what an advertiser's spending. I think it's only certain advertisers.
Yeah,
But it's for that was quite interesting.
that's interesting. But
Um,
that's it. Start to finish, as a how to get leads for a dentist. Um, I think we've covered everything there.
I think that's a good way to end it, guys. I think, yeah, we're going to be doing this is going to be part of a series. So it's going to be, we're going to do an episode on, like I said, loads of different industries, the intricacies of each, the nuances of each, just to give you because we've worked with so many industries, mate. I think it's really useful. But if you do want to dive into it a little bit more about what we do, if you're an agency, the academy's down below. If you're a dentist or dental practice or some kind of clinic watching this, and you want to kind of discuss with Tom and I from an agency view, I won't leave the agency URL below, but drop me a message on Instagram. It'll be Harry underscore SMMA. Just drop me a message, and we can talk. But yeah,
Yeah.
other than that, please drop us a subscribe, guys. Because this series is going to be fun. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for the next video.
Yeah, cool.